Equipment. There are many ways to photograph the northern lights. Nowadays, the newest cell phones have amazing cameras and sometimes they take better pictures than cheap cameras. So you might not need anything else than your phone to take a picture. But few years ago, this was the quality of my phone's camera from a tripod. Not that great, huh? This was actually the first time I saw northern lights, so the pictures are important to me even though the quality is so poor. But after that experience, I wanted to capture a bit more better picture of the northern lights. So I bought a used mirrorless camera. You can also shoot northern lights with your kit lens, for example. I would recommend to just try first on whatever you got before investing in cameras, lenses or the newest phone models. Then, if you like to spot the northern lights in general, then I would start to thinking about buying stuff. I think the same goes in photographing in general. There are many used cameras on sale that are brand new since the photographing or vlogging hobby didn't fly. That is why I also recommend to buy your first camera used, and it doesn't have to be the best model to get to test that is photographing a fun hobby for you. And believe me, there is a real danger to spend a lot of money in camera stuff later on. I haven't researched what cell phones are best in photographing northern lights, so I won't go to the phones more deeply. But even with the phone, a tripod would still be good to have, so the phone won't shake during long exposures. Basic thing about photographing northern lights is that it is happening in low light situations. So the lenses that are used should let in a lot of light. The smaller number in the f value, the better. And it is also important to think what environment photographing is taking place. In southern parts, the northern lights are often far in the horizon, and in northern parts, they can be more above. It would be good to think how wide angle is needed. For example, in Lapland, it would be good to use a wide-angle lenses. For example, 12 to 14 millimeters or even wider. But near Helsinki, I have often been satisfied with 22mm lens. Also, full-frame cameras capture wider angle than cropped censored cameras, but I won't go into that now. When choosing a lens, you can also think what else do you want in your pictures. Buildings, mountains, waterfalls, trees, reflections from the lake, and so on. Here are some examples of great lenses to shoot the northern lights. In popular northern lights lenses, the f number is usually under 3, and in most kit lenses, the f number starts from 3.5. The lenses that let in a lot of light are usually also pretty expensive. So here are lenses that I use that are more budget-friendly. Canon EF-M 22mm f2. A great lens in sharpness, and it lets in a good amount of light. The focal length is perfect in southern parts of Finland, for example. It's also a great lens for holiday and street photography, because it is so small. I would assume that other Canon pancake lenses would be also really good, like the EF-S 24mm f2.8. Samyang 40mm f2.8. This is very popular budget lens for astrophotography. It is fully manual, sharp, and has a pretty wide angle, and it lets in a reasonable amount of light. I use this with an adapter in Canon M mirrorless cameras when I want a wider angle than 22mm. It has no autofocus, so I haven't used it that much in other purposes, but it would work in scenery photos, for example. Samyang 8mm f3.5 fish eye. If I need super wide angle, this is good. It doesn't let in a lot of light, but you can take very long exposures with this lens without worrying the star trails. This is also a fun lens to play around if you want to try something else in photographing. But bear in mind, if the northern lights are far in the horizon, this super wide angle makes them look very small baby northern lights, shrinking into the distance. Canon EF 50mm f1.8, also called the Nifty 50. Not exactly the lens to shoot lights, because it's narrow angle. But it lets in a lot of light, and so it could be good to try, and many people have it already in their camera bags. With this lens, you should be very careful not to exposure too long time, or there will be star trails. This would be also good lens for portrait photos or any blurred background photos. I have also shot Northern Lights with EFM 15 to 45mm f3.5 kit lens, and it looked something like this. It has a good wide angle, and I think you can definitely get some good pictures with that lens also. This is an example of EFS 10 to 18mm f4.5 lens. It is very wide, but not the brightest lens. My problem with lenses is also the fact that I cannot predict how big the Northern Lights are going to be, and when the show starts, I don't want to begin to change lenses because I might miss the best parts. So usually I am shooting with not the best lens in the situation. Like this time when the Northern Lights were high as tall buildings, or that's how it felt at least, and didn't fit into my picture. My brain didn't work that much in that situation that I would have turned the camera, which would also solve the problem. Or this night, when a lot more wider lens would be better in such beautiful scenery and very big lights. I shot with my 22mm lens. Besides phone, camera, lens and tripod, you will need clothes. Lot of clothes. It is no joke. In nighttime and in winter it can be very cold. It can even surprise how cold. Especially when standing still in a shore of a windy lake or on some mountain top or field. In Lapland there can be -30°C in winter, so you really have to be careful. Photographers in Lapland keep winter fishing or snowmobile jumpsuits and wool underwear. Warm helmet-like hat is very good so your face won't freeze. And hood will keep also the wind slightly away from your face. In Lapland, ski masks are also recommended to have even more protect on your face. Shoes and gloves should be also good. I almost froze my little finger one time when I was shooting in -17°C in a cold wind with gloves like this. And believe me, it is not worth to danger yourself in any way trying to see the Northern Lights. There are also hand warmers that cost only a couple of euros that are great during winter. Also, an extra power bank for your phone is a must. If something happens and you are alone in the night in the middle of nowhere, it is important that you can call for help. Batteries also suffer from coldness, so phone battery can end sooner than expected. Camera batteries are good to keep close to your body heat, since there is warmer and they will last longer. Also, some food and drink is good to have with you.